it is time for some teams to panic.
Panic! Ah! Ah!
Oh, man. Well, I'm sure that was
Speaking of fringe championship contenders, what about the Clippers?
Looked a little better last night, I thought. A ton of mental mistakes. That's why they lost that game, just giving up back cuts. A ton of coaching mistakes. I think like Ty Lue, to me, just has no clue right now on like what is going to work, what his lineups are going to be. Like,
I'm really
PJ
surprised,
Tucker comes in. Yeah.
Given how much lead time they had to discuss the idea of bringing in James Harden, how unprepared they seemed for his arrival.
It makes a lot of sense.
They just didn't have, that much of a plan for what they would look like or how they would play. Now, it does seem like they want to get back to not messing around with these 5 small lineups, and because they're going to sign Daniel Tice once Indiana
that should solve it.
Out.
Yeah. The guy who couldn't beat out Isaiah Jackson and Jalen Smith. Yeah, that should fix things.
He is a world champion, Nate.
Yeah, I mean, he actually, the last time we saw him on a real team in Boston, he actually did help them. Yeah, that's and obviously, yeah, he did help Germany as well. So maybe we've seen him be more motivated in different settings. Like he obviously got salary dumped to Indiana, and he's had some health issues. So I mean, I'm not going to rule out that he can't get in like semi-competent backup center play, but that still doesn't solve the problem of just not really having enough shooting, and also just like James Harden was so bad defensively last night, right? Like he always seems to be like standing under the basket on the backside and just like letting guys cut behind him for layups over and over again. Like he used to at least be able to make a few plays with his intelligence defensively, and now he can't even do that.
Yeah, he's been, every time I've seen the Clippers, he's been really bad on defense, and you hope that it's because he's rusty or out of shape or whatever, and not because he's just washed at 34. Because we haven't really seen that like first step blow by, get to the rim game either. And so I think it's just all been really hard for him.
He had one on Jokic last night, but then he smoked the layup, of course.
Yeah, in the fourth quarter, exactly. But that's like the first time he's gotten to the rim as a Clipper, basically, right? That play. It's like, Oh, congratulations, you're faster than Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, this is a realization that I'm having more and more about some of these older teams. And you price in that, hey, guys are going to incrementally reduce in performance just about every year. And I felt this way about Golden State last year, where I still kind of had faith in them going through a lot of the season. Because I'm like, yeah, like they've had guys who've had flashes of playing well at various times. Like if they can just get everyone playing well at the same time, like they could still be a threat. But when you're older, that just doesn't happen as often, right? Like, okay, Paul George looks amazing last night, and Kawhi Leonard kind of struggles, thanks to Aaron Gordon, by the way. And
Kawhi,
Harden, okay, maybe he'll,
Low-key has been struggling the whole year.
Yeah. I mean, he's coming off a knee surgery, and load management. Like they weren't load managing him because he was a wuss, right? Like they're load managing him because he needs it, because he is not really capable of playing back-to-backs and playing 38 minutes a night. And I think he is going to wear down, and he is wearing down. So, I mean, they're at 3-7. They still have a positive net rating, as does every team that's played the Spurs other than Phoenix.
Yes. Yeah, beating them by 40 certainly helped.
But yeah, it doesn't seem like, I mean, are you more concerned about the individual pieces not being that good right now, or the fit?
Yes. I am concerned about both things. I'm concerned about the fit. I think they have to bring either Westbrook or Harden off the bench. Probably Westbrook. They need one more shooter out there. Like it just works better when Norm Powell is out there with those guys, I think. And then Westbrook can do more of his
Norm Powell's defense is so fucking bad, though.
Yes.
He hasn't stayed in front of anybody Like he gets in this beautiful defensive stance, and then he just gets blown right by every time. Like he hasn't guarded anybody since he was in Toronto.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe they can plug in Terrence Mann there, and he can do something and can make enough shots and can actually play defense. So I guess we'll see how that goes. Although he hasn't been great either yet. And then, but I also still think this team is built around the idea that that Pete Kawhi is good enough to win you a playoff game almost by himself. And he just hasn't been that guy all year. Paul George, hat tip, has been awesome, I think. Like, he's playing at an all-star level at age 33. But Kawhi, even before the trade, just hasn't been that guy yet.
No, he's had a couple of pretty good games, but yeah, overall, not that amazing. And I mean, ultimately, the team should be built around him, and it's just not right now. Like they're the fact that they don't run a single pick and roll to get him matched up against a smaller player at the end of the game yesterday. It was just odd.
Yeah. And they ran in the Memphis game, I think they ran one Harden Leonard pick and roll, and it went absolutely nowhere. So I agree with your statement. Yeah, it's a lot more like Paul George has had a lot of the crunch time possession and whatnot, and give him credit, like he's been really good. I get that, but it just still feels like when Ty Lue talks about, oh, Harden's been, taking a back seat, he's being too nice. I feel like he almost should be talking about Kawhi Leonard, actually. Like, I keep waiting for Kawhi Leonard to step up and reassert, like, okay, this is my team, and kind of everything else orbits around me being awesome. Just hasn't happened yet.
No, it hasn't. I mean, would you care to guess James Harden's usage percentage after 5 games at 161 minutes?
I'm going to guess it's 18.6 because I'm staring right at that page.
Good guess. Yeah, and it is kind of odd, right? You would like Kawhi to be in the high 20s. He's not. I mean, and Westbrook, I don't even know that he's like playing that badly. I think he's trying to fit in. I think all these guys are trying. Like, I don't think that it's necessarily like a messed up approach. And they took Bones Highland out of the rotation because they don't need that usage. You still got Norm Powell, who's like, he's out there to try and score also. So, I mean, it really is Westbrook who needs to be, if anything, coming off the bench and he should never play with Harden, and they should run more through Harden, and we'll see whether that helps them. And but I think their bigger problem is just that they need to like get connected. They just have no plan. They don't know what their rotation is. They don't know what their rotations on defense are. They're just making so many mistakes. I mean, for them to lose at home to that Memphis team with everyone healthy, that just you saw how they played against LA. It just was like, I can't believe that.
Yeah, they were getting their butts kicked for much of that game.
Yeah.
Before they finally pulled Harden out and made a comeback at the end.